came to me then was I discovered something called EFT. Some of you may know about this, emotional freedom techniques. It's the tapping thing. Okay. So I did this tapping thing for a while. If you don't know about tapping, it doesn't matter. It's not that important. But it's a thing you tap and then like so many of these things, then then now there's probably I wouldn't be, I mean, there's probably thousands of different tapping strategies, right? Some people will say you should do it this way, and other people say do it this way, and you should tap on these points, and people they never tap on those points, and some people say, well, do these affirmations while you tap, and some people say do these different affirmations when you tap, and some people say never do affirmations when you tap. That will make it all not work, and some people will say all these different things. But fortunately, at that time, I didn't. I read a book and I just did what the book said. I didn't question it or doubt it, and I got results. Okay, so and so the process that I was using was I was tapping on all the points they were given, and I was using the affirmations the way that it was suggested to use the affirmations, and the affirmation was like, even though I have this whatever, even though I think I'm insane and stupid and miserable and I'll never be well, I still completely love and accept myself. And then just keep tapping. I love and accept myself, or I'll never be well. I'm a miserable failure, and just keep doing that until eventually the charge goes away. And so I did that, and I did that a lot. I did that so much that eventually I was like, I'm really tired of tapping. Like the energy required for the tapping was too much. And so, but I was like, but I still have too many things that I'm still trying to avoid. So I needed to find another way. So I was like, okay, well, I could imagine that I'm tapping. So I would imagine that I was tapping, not actually physically tapping. I was really weak, physically weak at the time too. I should mention that, so it was like, it was taxing to do all the tapping. And so I would imagine, and then even that became too much. I was like, even just imagining the tapping is kind of too much effort. And so then I was like, okay, well, maybe I could just not do the tapping and see how that works. What if I could just do it without the tapping? Just the same thing, but minus the tapping. And it's like, oh, I'm still getting results. So I was like, okay, maybe the tapping is not necessary. Maybe the tapping is just like superfluous to the whole thing. And it seemed to be true. So it's like, okay. So then after a while, I started to be curious, well, what's the actual mechanism involved in this? And I realized, well, a big part of it is that I'm actually just facing the things that I was otherwise trying to avoid. Imagine that, because the deal was with the setup, with the style of EFT that I was doing, it was even though, and then whatever the thing is that I was trying to avoid. Let's say I'm trying to avoid the fear of fast food establishments. Okay, so you say, even though I have this fear of fast food establishments, I still love and accept myself. Right, so I'm just facing it head on. I'm saying, I'm not trying to avoid it. I'm just being forthright about it. Even though I have this fear, I still love and accept myself. And so I realized, well, probably actually facing the thing is helpful, a pretty significant part of this, right? And then I thought, well, but it seems like there's a little bit more to it than just that, because there's also this alternation between the facing the thing that I'm afraid of, and there's this other thing that's creating this space of I love and accept myself. So there's this kind of alternation of, on the one hand, I'm facing the thing, and on the other hand, I'm also acknowledging that there's this space of love and acceptance. So these can coexist. This fear and the love and acceptance, they can coexist. So if you want something really simple, you could start with that. You could start with just allowing this alternation of, on the one hand, facing the thing just in your thinking, in your imagination, the thing that you're trying to avoid, whatever that is. And on the other hand, this spaciousness of love and acceptance. So you can just try that out. And just do that until the charge drops. So you can get a subjective sense of the charge on the issue at the beginning. So people refer to this as SUDS, subjective units of distress, I think is what that acronym stands for. And you can just, on a scale of 1 to 10 or 0 to 10, you can give a number to that, right? So if I think about, okay, when I think about McDonald's, I'm thinking about, like, just if I just think about McDonald's, and I'm like, what's the subjective units of distress on that, on a scale from 0 to 10? And I'm like, that's it's at least a 9. I'm like really stressed out just thinking about just the word McDonald's. If you think that's funny, I mean, imagine how awful that is. So, okay, so that's my baseline. That's the starting point. So then I can do that. So I say, okay, so even though I have this fear of McDonald's, I completely love and accept myself. So I'm just alternating. I have the fear of McDonald's. I love and accept myself. I have the fear of McDonald's. I love and accept myself. I have the fear of McDonald's. I love and accept myself. And then if I notice there's a lessening of the charge on it, and then I'm like, wait, what is it now on a scale from 0 to 10? I'm like, well, now it's like a 3. Okay, great. So could then continue that until it gets it down to a 0. And then I could try and increase that charge. So bring it back. It's like, okay, well, so just thinking about McDonald's is not enough. What if I imagine, like, when I was 16 years old, I actually worked at a McDonald's, which I don't recommend. I mean, if you really need the money, I suppose you could do it, but not there are worse jobs. But I actually have a reference point to imagine spending 8 hours a day in a McDonald's, and then I know what that experience was going back home and just like couldn't get the smell off. It was just sort of nauseating. So I could imagine, okay, well, what if I was in the McDonald's? What if I was eight hours in the McDonald's, and what if, like just up the ante some, it's okay. What if I was like emptying the the what do they call them? I don't know what they call them, like the grease thing, and like spilled on me. Something that would kind of increase the charge. I'm like, okay, when I imagine that, what's that on a scale from 0 to 10? I'm like, man, that's like a 7. Yeah, it brings back the charge. Okay, so even though I'm working at McDonald's and I spill the grease on myself, I still love and accept myself. Okay, so just facing the thing that I'm trying to avoid and then alternating with this space of love and acceptance can bring down the charge. And when I can no longer bring back the charge, no matter what, I'm like, okay, what do I have to do? I'm like, nothing. There's nothing I could, if there's nothing I can do to bring back the charge, that's pretty amazing. And so it's possible. I found that it's possible to do that with anything.